everybody, welcome back to the channel. Josh here, and it is extraction day, July 5th. Hope everybody had a wonderful July 4th, celebrating America's birthday. I know we did. Spent some time with some friends and family, and it was a nice day. So today is all about extracting. So in front of me here you can see one of my new toys. This is the Lyson 30 frame honey extractor. I believe it is their Optima line. I need to double check on that. I currently have it running because I just cleaned out the inside, getting this ready for extraction, and I'm trying to dry it out, make sure there's no more, get all the moisture out of there. But isn't it pretty? I think it's awesome. So getting to use it for the first time today. Runs off of, this one runs off 120. They have a lot of different models. They have some that run off 240. I just opted for this one. And not to be used today, but here's my other toy. This is the Lyson hot water wax melting tank. So we'll showcase this on another future video when it's time to process all that wax that we get from the cappings after extraction. I think this is going to be really cool. And this runs off of 240, so I had to get a converter cable for that. But we'll talk more about that later. This is my little setup, I guess. I have back corner of my dad's shop here. That's my Maxant bottling tank. I've got the Lyson automatic bottler under here that I put everything on a cart, hydraulic lift, try to make things easier. I need to bolt this to the concrete to give it some stability. Let's see, I'm still using the Pierce uncapping tank. It's good for now, but as I'm getting bigger, I'm definitely ready to upgrade. I've got my eye on the Lyson uncapping tank. They have 1,000, oh, what's the metric system? Is it 1,000 M? What is it? Meters? I don't know. But it's a big tank. It's a big uncapping tank, and I plan to. My dad has graciously allowed me to kind of have this back corner of his shop to be my honey shop, whatever you want to call it. But hey, at least I get air conditioning blowing on me right there, so I'm not complaining, especially when it's over 90 degrees outside. I got to figure out what I want to do here. Eventually, I'll probably get Lyson's, what do you call that? It's escaping me. Basically, it has the baffles where the honey flows over them, and it separates the wax from the honey. And then I would need a pump, and then pump it into the bottling tank, and then bottling tank into the automatic bottler, and then start to bottle. But I got to figure out exactly how I want to arrange everything. Obviously, this doesn't stay out here permanently. When I'm done, I push it back in there. So, how many supers? Well, we did decent. I got 25 supers I have to go through. Not great, but not terrible. Realistically, I was only counting on 9 colonies producing this year, since that's what came out of winter. I'm currently up to 25. So if I can successfully get 25 through this winter, I'm praying that next year's harvest will maybe be double that. I don't know. That's a good problem to have. Let's see. I use the Pierce heated uncapping knife. Works great. I don't have one of those fancy uncapping machines like you saw me use at Dave's last year, so yours truly will be doing all the uncapping manually. But I mean, 25 supers, that's not terrible. Since I don't have 10 in each, it's what? I mean, it's under 250, and that's if every single one's full, which they're absolutely not. So shouldn't be too bad. This does have an emergency stop on it, and you can hear it braking. Comes to a stop pretty quick, and then reset it. You just turn that. It's literally stupid proof, easy to use. It's belt driven underneath motor. One thing I want to talk about, there's a gentleman, I can't think of his name, but he gave me one of these at Nobby last year, and he calls it his honey bee bucket alarm. Here's his information, J.L. Apiaries. There's his phone number and his email address. But this thing's pretty cool. It's basically, let me unscrew it here. can see how it sits on the bucket. See if I can get it out here. Should have loosened this before. You just loosen these by hand, tighten them by hand. And essentially what this tries to solve is preventing you from getting distracted and overflowing your buckets with honey, and you have your product spill out on the concrete, and then you're cursing and cussing yourself. So the way that it works, you saw how it was attached onto the side of the bucket there, and it's got this little float, and when the honey pushes it up, I mean, simple but effective, right? So like I said, you just put it on the side of your bucket here, and then if you're stupid like me and you get sidetracked and your honey keeps coming up as you're extracting because you're not paying attention to it, this alarm goes off and saves you money by not letting your liquid gold flow all over the floor and waste it. So pretty cool. Check him out if you guys are interested. I don't know what he sells them for, to be honest. He was nice and just gave me one, so I told him I'd give it a try. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to extracting. Okay, first of all, I just want to say it smells absolutely amazing in here. It's one of the sweetest things, no pun intended, but one of the coolest things about extracting honey. You get this wonderful aroma when you're out here in the shop and you're just uncapping all this honey. So I've already gone through a handful of supers here, a couple handful of supers. I've got 25 frames in. I figured I'd bring you along for the process for the remaining 5, and then we can test the new extractor together. I don't have it bolted down to the floor, so I'm gonna have to go slow and easy just to make sure that it doesn't rock and shake a whole lot, but this has been the process, so. Well, that's a good looking frame. Not too shabby there. The honey has been testing high in moisture. I've been 19 to 20% on several tests. So what does that mean? Well, obviously that's too high to bottle. You can't bottle it when it's that high, or you take the risk of it fermenting in the bottle, and then you produce a terrible product that ends up, you know, having a, I don't know, like almost like a mead. I know that doesn't sound terrible, but it can have a bad off taste to it. And then of course you give that to your customers and you've probably lost a customer for life there. So that side doesn't have very much, but that's a good looking frame right there. So, and they didn't even draw it very fat here, so this could be a little more difficult to uncap, but essentially you just take your knife here. Yeah, see, it's only just getting the top portion. So this is actually kind of a pain in the butt when this happens, but all I do is I just kind of poke holes in it in the wax there. It'd be better if I had a one of those, you guys have seen those picks, those work really well. But essentially I'll just kind of try to get a little bit, I'm trying to angle towards the camera so you guys can see here, but I'll try to get it to where I'm just getting that top capping off. This is typically what a frame looks like when you put 10 frames in a super, which is why, and this is the first frame I've come across that has been this shallow. But this is why I put 9 frames in a super and use that spacer that you've seen me use in other videos. It's for this exact reason, because could you imagine doing this with every single frame? It'd be a nightmare. It'd take you forever to extract. So talking about high moisture honey, what am I gonna do about it? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and extract these, obviously. Put it in a bucket. I have had, you can see over my shoulder here, I have had the fan on this for a couple days now. Oops. And hoping to dry it out, but it's still coming in a little bit too high. So what you can do is you can extract the honey, let it settle in the buckets, and then, which is a smaller amount of honey to be drying out. Then you can put the box fan with some spacing on top of the buckets in a controlled environment like this, and generally you'll be able to pull it down 1 or 2%, which is all I need. I just need to get it down to like 17 is really what I'm shooting for. So let's take a look at the next one. that's a, okay. This is gonna end up being the thumbnail, so I'm gonna pose. We'll take a snapshot of that. Look at this frame. I mean, that's one you would enter in a contest. I gotta take a picture of it. Oh, it's heavy too. All right. Yeah, this is the type of frame people always show on the internet, right? Take a quick video too. It's a good looking frame. Ah. Makes you wish every single one was like this. Hey, Dad, look at this frame.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Look at that. Look at the other side.
Yeah. Thick.
Hold it. What do you think that is? I mean, is that 10 pounds maybe? 8? It's up there. Now this is how it's supposed to go, okay? Watch how easy this is. Hey, Dad, come here. Okay. Look at that. Oh, man, I bet that's delicious. We've got 4 more to go in here, and then we'll get to do our first spin. Can you come here a second? One thing, make sure when you're extracting that you do have your honey gate open. I know mine's closed right now, but before you start extracting, you want to make sure you open it. There's a danger that if you start spinning and you forget to do that and the honey starts rising, you could end up burning out your motor when the bottom of the frames start hitting. Just take a video as I uncap this for me. Thank you. All right. Oh, wish they all were like that. So let's take a look at, I got a couple frames of cut comb that panned out, but most of them did not. Of course, that's my luck. This is gonna be some nice cut comb. This is what I was hoping for a bunch of. Most of the cut comb frames, cut comb 25, that I pulled out are not capped. And so what I'll end up doing with that is I'll probably end up offering chunk comb honey for the first time ever, which is where I fill a mason jar, maybe a pint jar or something, glass jar, cut a 2x4 chunk of uncapped cut comb, stick it in the jar, fill it up with honey, and people still really enjoy that. This is gonna be a perfect frame though to cut some 2x4 sections out. And I don't even, there's no travel stains there either. So I'm pretty fortunate because a lot of my fellow beekeepers talked about travel stains, which is where the bees have to walk several times across the comb and their little feet pick up, you know, whatever, propolis, what have you, and it just kind of makes the comb darker in color. Evidently, it's not as desirable, but I'm going to set this off to the side. It's a beautiful frame. Get to use my Pierce Co. 2x4 cutter for the first time. That'll be cool. All right, how many more frames we need? 3 more, guys. Let's keep going. It's just a beautiful super. Oh. Awesome. Now, I normally have my music playing because this is just kind of fun to just chill and uncap honey and take your time and kind of be in your own little world. But YouTube doesn't allow that, or if you do play music in the background of your videos, they will demonetize them. Because I don't have permission from the artist to play that song in my video. Tell me how I know that happens. Because I've had it happen. And then YouTube flags it. And they smack you on the wrist and say, take your video down, or cut the audio out. Even if it was innocent enough, I had it playing in the background on one of my videos or something on how to light a smoker. And anyway, next thing I know, they were telling me to take it down. Oops, sorry, just smashed a bee. It was... This is really an amazing super. To be clear, none of them have been like this, okay? I did not purposely time this one for the video, although I did know that it was heavy, so I'll admit that. But I had no idea it looked like this. It was great. One super, I had to essentially, it probably had about 20 pounds of honey in it, and I essentially had to, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, hang on, guys. I had to get rid of it because got a bee in there. Should probably keep this closed. Still have bees flying around here. But essentially, I had to get rid of it because somehow a mated queen got in there, either a bent. Sometimes that can happen if you have a bent queen excluder. Okay, that can happen. Sometimes it can happen. You know, I put those discs on the front of my supers. I would say that is one downside to it. She got in there and started laying, and you know, can't have eggs and brood in your honey. Most people don't like that. Some people do. Weirdly enough, I had this one lady come to me at the farmer's market, and she's like, no, I want like real raw honey. And I was like, okay. So I was like, you want bee parts and legs? And she goes, yeah. I'm like, okay. Sticky. I'm gonna pause the video real quick. Be right back. Okay, now we're back. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and get this last one in here, which just has a little bit of honey. A little bit of honey there. And let's try out the new extractor. Okay. Like I said, remember to open your honey gate. Very exciting. Hopefully it doesn't wobble too much since it's not anchored down, but we're going to start slow. Put it on 2. See what happens for a little bit. And we don't have it anchored down yet.
Yeah. It's pretty even there the way you got it. It's surely it'll settle in.
Yeah, I hope so.
Wouldn't make it walk too much for that. We'll fix it.
And it's walking a little there. We'll keep it here for a minute.
Even out.
Slow and steady. Yeah, it's coming out. I can tell just by looking at it, it's got too much moisture. It's too runny. So we'll have to pull it down. Which I've had to do before. It's not fun. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. This is the honey business. Even when it's capped, you get these, you know, we had such a rainy spring. You get all this moisture in the air, and even when the bees cap it, it can still be difficult for them to pull it down because the humidity is so high. Still trying to walk a little bit.
A little bit.
Go up to 4, see what happens.
There's 3 legs on here.
3 legs. Yep.
No skirt.
After this, yeah.
Okay.
We'll get through this round. You just gotta be patient. A lot of honey coming out.
Yeah.
See it?
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah. Let me get back here. I'm gonna
Sure.
grab the camera and show them a different angle. You see the honey right down in there? It's starting to level out a little bit. All right, let's see if we can go up to 4. Put your foot in front of that. Huh?
I did.
Okay. Eventually it should level out once most of the honey is out and it's even. You'll be able to turn it up to the max to get every last bit. I'll show you guys later how I dry it out. I was kind of talking about putting the box fan on top of it, of the bucket. Sometimes it can take a few days, unfortunately, to get that down to 16 or 17% where you need it to bottle it. So then I'll put it in the bottling tank, but then you got to seal that bottling tank. So I'll probably put some form of saran wrap or something on top of it. Otherwise, it'll pull the moisture right back in, because honey is hygroscopic and hydrophilic, which means it will both take on moisture or release moisture depending on what the ambient humidity is, the relative humidity around it. So you have to create a drier environment than the honey to be able to pull the moisture out of it. And the bees do that by evaporation. So they'll fan their wings and create air current across the honey to pull the moisture out, and then they'll cap it. And by capping it with that layer of wax, it keeps any more moisture from getting in the honey. Slow and steady. If it was anchored down, we could probably force it a little bit faster, but it's got good color. Looks like it's a nice dark color, sort of dark amber. I'm sure there's some tulip poplar in it. I saw some dark honey. Generally, beekeepers, at least in this area, when they harvest early, like real early spring, you'll get this super light honey from all the tree pollens. Generally just creates a lighter honey, and then a late summer or midsummer, late summer, early fall honey tends to be a lot darker with what's blooming that time of year. Like I've mentioned in previous videos, we don't get a very good fall flow around here, at least not in my experience. In 5 years, I've not seen a good fall flow. I guess I've been through 4 falls. This will be my 5th. So I never count on it. You get goldenrod, wingstem, and aster around here, but it just doesn't last. There we go. We'll just keep that spinning for a while. I'll go ahead and pause the video. I doubt you want to sit here and watch this for 15 minutes. So I'll pick it back up once we got this thing really going and we're ready to stop it and see how well it did. All right, through the power of video editing, we have instantaneously anchored this extractor down. So I have a DeWalt hammer drill, so I hammer drilled into the concrete, and I've got some screws in there, and already you can see how much more stable it is. Turn it up to a 4, and it wasn't hardly budging at all. So really helps. I'm gonna turn it up to a 5. Goes all the way up to 10. And ideally you want to get it to 10 and leave it there for a little while. 5 minutes or so. Make sure you get every morsel out of there. My friend Deborah was asking me yesterday how long. She says 15 minutes. I said a couple minutes. I was way low on that. Maybe with the other extractor. With this one, yeah, probably 5 to 10 minutes. Let it run. Make sure you get everything out of there. This bucket's about full, so we'll be moving on to our next bucket soon. All right, go up to a 6. It is wobbling a little bit, but that's where those anchors really help keep it from scooting and sliding and everything else. Sound like a piece of wax came loose. I've noticed some extractors have the design on the bottom
what is this shape called? Is it conical or something? It's like a cone shape, right? Some of them, though, they have it tilted, which, and I don't think this Lyson one does, because when I was cleaning it with water, at a certain point, you know, there's a ring of water around it, and I had to tip it a little bit. Not that it's that big of a deal. Just put like a couple 2x4s under one of the legs here, the leg behind the opening, and everything drained out just fine. But I do think the design where they have it tilted forward a little bit towards the gate is preferable. Okay, so that's a 6. We'll go up to a 7 here. And I am seeing honey being slung out on the sidewalls. Let me bring you guys in for a close-up here. Oop. So I kind of just look at these sidewalls here, look for honey splattering. And you'll see it being slung out. Currently at a 7. We're gonna leave it here for another minute or two, because it is, you can tell it's wobbling a little bit. Cappings. Smells amazing, by the way. Whoa! That came out of nowhere. Now, why would it have done that? That'd have been all over the place if this thing wasn't anchored down. Oh, that screw's loose. Okay. Well, let's get that tightened up, shall we? Yep, one of the screws came loose. Thought I had it tight, but evidently not. Or it was working it loose. One of the two. Well, I know I didn't have it that loose, so. That one's still tight. That one's good. Okay, try again. You can see it ramps up. It doesn't just instantly, you know, try to go to that speed. So it must have something in the controller here where it progressively increases. That's a little better. There is an emergency. There's a safety feature on this. If you open the lid, this is a switch. I'll show you in a second. If you were to raise this, it would put the brakes on. It's a safety feature. I asked Lyson what this was for. Evidently, in some applications, you'd want to run this with a 12-volt car battery. So I guess some take this out to the field instead of bringing the frames to the extractor. They take the extractor to the frames. I don't know. I thought that was very interesting. Yeah, it's definitely doing better now. To have this where you can hook it up to a car battery. I wonder how fast it spins with a car battery versus, you know, AC power. All right, well, let's go up another one, see what happens. Want to get it up to 10. Yeah, it's... See if it's working that screw loose again. Dad, we may have to use locking washers if it's working them loose. Okay. He's telling me to be more patient. Okay. Yeah, I see it's moving that one. It's just working this one back up. This one screw over here keeps backing off. Okay. Try it again. Keep it at 7. Well, there's always some kinks you got to get out with a new toy. Get it figured out. The bucket is getting pretty full. See, while you're messing around with screws and everything else, you could forget. And next thing you know, your honey's overflowing, so that's where this alarm will help. We'll keep it at 7 for a little while. All right, well, I'll go ahead and pause the video here, and then when it's done spinning, pull the frames out, we'll take a look at them. So earlier in the video, like an absolute idiot, the reason I was getting a little bit of wobbling at higher speed was because I forgot to uncap one side of one completely full frame. And that was enough weight distribution being different that it was creating that wobble. So, downsides of trying to film and record video while focusing on what you're supposed to be focusing on. So, as you can see, I went from 0 to 10 in a matter of 45 seconds to a minute, and it's extremely stable. Honey's coming out at a good clip. So yeah, makes all the difference in the world when the extractor can actually balance out correctly because you haven't trapped some of the honey in one of the frames. So getting some good cappings here, that's for sure. We're about, let's see, I don't want to burn the wax. We're roughly halfway done. Got some mediocre cut comb. I have 1 or 2 frames that was edge to edge capped. So while I'm happy about that, that's pretty underwhelming in terms of what I was hoping for. Although I still have a whole nother stack to go through, but I'm not optimistic. However, that'll make good chunk comb. There's a lot of weight in there though. There's a lot of honey in there, so fingers crossed. I'm gonna let this spin for about 5 minutes or so. Make sure we get every morsel out. So far I really like the extractor, especially after I bolted it down. Got the weight distribution correct. It's extremely smooth, very powerful, quiet. So I'd definitely give it 2 thumbs up. Of course, no surprise coming from Lyson that it's a good quality product. Extracting is fun, but it is monotonous. You know, you're just rinse, repeat, doing the same thing over and over. Really trying to get that moisture pulled down, but we'll do it in the buckets. First bucket clocked in at 19.5, that's too high.
I need to get it down to 17 or less. So I got to pull it down 2.5%. Not too difficult to do. Not super easy, but it's going to take several days of fanning and dehumidifier and keeping the humidity out of the air, and it'll come down. I've done it before. Okay, well, we're going to continue on the journey here. Try to get through this stack. It's probably not going to be tonight. I'll probably pick it up tomorrow. I'm getting kind of tired. And yeah, we'll get all this in buckets. You got to let it sit in the buckets for a few days so all of the bubbles that are inevitably in there rise to the surface, and then you can use some saran wrap to tap the top and get any air bubbles off. So you got beautiful, flawless looking honey, very clean looking. And then it's going into the Maxant bottling tank, and I'll need to hook up the hose to the Lyson automatic bottler, which if you watched my videos last year, I used it last year. Or at least I gave you a demonstration of it. So that thing's worth its weight in gold. Doing it by hand, opening and closing the honey gate, oh my gosh, does that get old. Now if you only have 2 or 3 hives, sure, have at it. But if you start to get into the tens of hives, it gets, and you've got, you know, 25 or more supers, 200 plus frames to go through, it gets really old. Hundreds of pounds of honey to bottle. No, that's a hard pass. Do yourself a favor and invest in a good bottling system. Okay. Well, I'm gonna finish this up, and then we'll be back and we'll wrap up the video.